Ready? Okay, I'm Sanford Rubenstein, the attorney for Benjamin Marshall. I'm here with his dad and mom, civil rights activist, Reverend McCall, and we're here today to address something terrible that happened. And we have filed a notice of claim for $5 million in damages for the assault on a 15-year-old by a New York City police officer, punching him in the face multiple times, and then being thrown to the ground and other officers getting on top of him. And his father will explain to you the details of what happened. This is unacceptable in this city. Young people, 15 years old, assaulted by police. The circumstances under which he was in the train station were very simple. He was going to retrieve a backpack. This should not be happening in this city. It is disgraceful that we have a mayor who got elected because he opposed stop and frisk and now is unable to control police officers who are out of control. Out of control. Unacceptable. The district attorney here in Kings County has agreed to do an independent investigation with regard to criminality involving the actions of the police officers. Benjamin will be fully cooperating with that probe. Justice is what this family seeks. His father will explain in more detail what happened. And we're joined also now by Hawk Newsom, Black Lives Matter.
Good afternoon to the press. As parents, we are devastated by this incident that happened on Friday the 25th to our son, 15-year-old Benjamin. He went down to the Jay Street train station to retrieve his bag. And while he was there, he was punched multiple times by one of New York's finest, which should have never happened. If you look at the video, you would see he's laying on the ground with probably about 6 cops on his back. One had his knee on his neck, and Benjamin was crying out, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe." It took my mind back to Arizona. This incident, the outcome of this could have been different. We could have been mourning Benjamin right now. So we are looking for change, policy change, whatever change. Some stuff has to happen. This should not go on to no parent or no kids in the future. Thank you.
His mother will speak about the kind of young man he is. And I just want to comment also that one of the things that's very important here is that we have video of what happened, pictures of the truth. And it's so important these days that when pictures of the truth surface, that they be shown publicly so that the public knows what happened from photographs, evidentiary evidence, photographs, movie evidence, I call it movies, movie evidence of what happened. And that's what we have here, pictures of the truth. So you all have it, and we think it's important that the public see those so that you actually know what happened. We're also joined by Joey Jackson, who's part of my legal team. His mother will now address you.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Victoria, mother of Benjamin. Benjamin is a very good kid. We don't have any problems with him. We have never been in this sort of situation. He has never been in trouble. His trouble is doing homework. That's what he knows trouble to be. He has been brought up to know to respect the police officers. He knows what to do. So when we saw the video, we was pretty numb. Benjamin has never ever been any kind of troublesome kid. He's a very good kid. He's a very playful kid. He's very respectable. He is very outgoing. He's a very intelligent kid. So I don't know what else to say more than when you view the video, as Mr. Stanford has stated, you will get the picture of exactly what took place. Thank you.
We're joined by community activists as well, Reverend Kevin McCall.
Good afternoon, Reverend Kevin McCall, Vice President of the Arc of Justice. Our mantra has always been no justice and no peace. It's very unfortunately that we are joined today by yet another family, a family that is not just a regular family, but a family that don't have no track record of their going to prison or going to jail for their son. This family is a church-going, community-going family. This young man has never had any encounter with the law. Nothing. You can Google, you can go on the rap search, nothing you can find. What you can find when you speak to his teachers and the principal and his peers, you can find that he is a student that loves math, that loves reading. He was on the train station, in the train station, and was assaulted by the New York City Police Department over and over again. What mantra do the police commissioner and Bill de Blasio need to hear? Is it, I can't breathe? You didn't hear it a lot with Eric Garner 11 times? This young man said, I can't breathe, while an officer of the law that we pay their taxes over and over again. So we gonna do what we normally do to get results. The Arc of Justice is calling for an independent investigation because we want some heads to roll. He don't need to be transferred to another precinct to do something else. He has a history of this. He needs to be off the force. We're calling for us to be fired. We're tired out to be called for, they need to be trained. No, he was trained before the 5 incidents that he assaulted other people. He needs to be fired. And the other officers, it goes to show you, if you look at the video, that they had no respect for the lieutenant that was at the scene. The lieutenant pushes his officer back, and they still threw a punch and hit these young people, these teenagers, these children. So we're going to march. That's what we're going to do. We're going to march. The Arc of Justice is going to march from Jay Street to the 84th Precinct, because these officers are not just from the 84th Precinct, they're from the Transit District 33. And we're not just going to be able to just open our mouths, but we're going to be able to meet with the chiefs, Delatorre, who understands what happened in Eric Garner's situation in Staten Island. He was the CEO of that precinct, the 20th precinct in Staten Island. So we're going to meet with him because I want to let him hear from the parents. You know what I'm saying? What kind of child this person was, and explain to their family why they had to watch their son on video being hit. You're supposed to respect the law. You can't even get on the train anymore and be serious and take the train without an officer harassing you. And Governor Cuomo got the nerve to talk about he don't want no body cams. We need body cam. If it wasn't for the video, we'd be here talking about a funeral. So we need the body cams. We need the body cams like yesterday. And we want to make sure that it's no swept under the rug. This is not a case that it will just go away. We're going to be out there. We're going to be present. We're going to be visible. And we are not, because this is a generation that is not going to stop. These young people are not afraid. And they're going to rise up, and we're going to rise up with them. So, yeah, we believe in stopping the violence, but there comes a point in the time where silence is betrayal. There comes a point in the time where you have to be able to speak up and do something about it. And that's what we're going to do, is speak up. And we're going to rally these young people, and we're going to rally in the streets with all these organizations, because we're tired of being sick and tired.
Right on.
No justice, no peace.
You know, one of the things I want to clarify is I can't breathe was because if you look at the video, you see an officer with his knee in his neck. That's why he couldn't breathe. Hawk Newsom, chairman of Black Lives Matter, Greater New York.
I was on the train here today, and I said to an elderly black man, like, did you see the image of that young black kid getting beat up by the cops on the train? And his response was, at least they didn't shoot him. He didn't say, I hope that he gets justice. He did not say that maybe it'll be different this time, but all the black people have left is to be grateful, to be grateful that the police do not murder us. This is about this young brother, this is about his family, but this is definitely about cop watching. We live in an age of cop watching in which the public pulls out their cell phones and records the police. They record the police when they're committing these unjust, these acts of excessive force. And what's important, what's of the utmost importance to us is that everyone takes a stand. But I ask you all the question, what has to be done? Officer Daniel Pantaleo was fired. The mayor has called for police reform. The public advocate marches diligently against excessive force in policing. What more has to be done to rein in the NYPD? They're operating with impunity. We will rise up, we will fight, we will continue to make noise, and we will continue to push. But what will it take for citizens of New York to stand up and say the NYPD is out of control? Because I give you this, if this were a young white woman from a prep school in Manhattan, the city would be in an outrage. But somehow when it happens to young black people, it's justifiable.
Next, I'm going to call Joey Jackson, our criminal counsel. And I want to point out something, that when police brutality occurs and excessive force is used by police, the victim gets charged. So the victim needs to get a criminal lawyer to represent them, and they got to deal with the issue of what they're being charged with, when in fact, in his case, the police officer should be charged. Assaulting an individual for no reason. That is unacceptable. Joey Jackson.
This is about accountability, first and foremost. Let me inform everyone that in the event that he is charged and the matter moves forward, it's my honor and privilege to represent him. We're talking about a 15-year-old young man here who's an amazing kid. Having had the opportunity to speak with him, to meet with him, to meet with his mother, his father, his grandmother, members of his family, he's an exceptional human being. He's a person who certainly is thoughtful. He's thinking about his future. He's thinking about what he's going to be doing past the 10th grade, what colleges he's going to, or the things that we talked about, and really what he values in life, and really what brought him to this moment, which is the support of his family, the encouragement of his community. And he's a child that's on the right track, and we certainly want to keep him there. Let's understand something that's very important. No one should be brutalized at the hands of police, okay? Particularly, that is even made sadder when you're talking about a 15-year-old who is doing nothing other than standing there minding his business. That's a problem, and that's a problem we need to address. We can assure you that in the event that this matter goes forward, he will be defended vigorously. But to Sandy Rubenstein's prior point, and I want to make this clear, he should not, that is, as we talk about this young man, Benjamin Marshall, he should not be the subject of prosecution. The subject of prosecution in this case should be the officer who inflicted the blow and blows upon him at that time. The fact is that if you want to hold someone accountable, that's the person who needs to be held accountable here.
Absolutely.
And so the bottom line is that we are looking without question for justice in this case. We are looking to hold everyone and anyone responsible that wears a badge that would brutalize communities, that would engage in conduct that has no place. We recognize and understand that the NYPD is there to serve. And for those who are serving our communities, we salute you. To those who are not serving our communities and who are over-policing our communities, who are brutalizing our communities, and who are engaging in misconduct, that's another matter. We're here to hold you accountable and to let you know today, tomorrow, and every other day, we will not give an inch. Our communities, certainly as it relates to this young man, he was there in peace. And for a person to be there in peace and to end up in the hospital and to otherwise being denied treatment, That's a problem. And it's certainly a problem that Sanford Rubenstein is addressing and has been addressing for years. And it's a problem that certainly it's my privilege to address because this ends and it ends now.
Thank you.
Black Lives Matter, Greater New York, demands that this officer be charged with endangerment of a child and felony assault. Police brutality in New York ends with police going to jail.
We will now take questions.
Sandy, maybe this is probably best for the mom.
Yeah.
How has your son changed since this incident? What have you noticed different?
Well, the biggest thing is these. He doesn't like the flashing of the cameras because he said they put it in his face and kept flashing. So that's the problem. He starts freaking out. Sleep. He's having problems. He cannot sit in the back seat of a car. It makes him freak out. I have to keep reassuring him that he's going to be all right. We try to, now his dad and I and my family, we're overnight comedians because we have to constantly keep cracking jokes and trying to keep him cheerful. He's changed a lot.
Speak to the injuries he sustained.
He has a concussion. He has wound on the forehead. He had swelling on the temple, and he had a bruise in the back of his neck, his arm, and his back. He's in a lot of pain, so we're just going from day to day.
Thank you.
Can I ask you also, for the mother and father, I know with incidents like this, there have been a lot of conversations with families about having conversations with their teenagers, in particular teenage boys, about how to act when something like this happens, to stir up. Have you ever had a conversation with him about what to do? I see you nodding, sir.
See, we always
Why
tell
don't we just let the dad come in here and
we
address
always
that?
tell our son that you already have 2 strikes against you. You're black and you're a man.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So it's something that we
Constantly.
instill in him, which we shouldn't have to, but that's the only way he's going to survive. Then we have to do what we got to do.
And the mom addressed certain injuries, and I think you need to look at the video to see. Not only was he punched in the face repeatedly by a police officer, but he was violently thrown to the ground. That is not what should be happening to 15-year-old kids, never been in trouble, good students. It should not be happening in this city.
And let me say one more thing to your question. It's not about having conversations with young people about what they should do with the police. I think that we already have that conversation because we see this happen so many times. So it's not about that. What needs to happen is a conversation for the New York City Police Department to know what to do when you are coming on a citizen. That's the conversation, because they act very irresponsible and erratic when they come up to an individual. And when they don't know how to deal with mental health.
Amen.
They don't know how to be able to deal with being black. They don't. They talk about this whole community policing. It's more than you just giving out turkeys and you serving food and you dancing with people. It's more than that with community policing. It's about having conversation. They always say when these things happen, where's the police? Where's the police? Where the good cops at that see this?
Thank you.
You are a problem in our community when you continue to be able to be silent on these issues.
Amen.
This is a young person. I want to see the first police over there say something about their family. Oh, he has a rap sheet. Find me one, because he don't have one. That's the difference, is having a conversation about knowing your police officer, knowing their rights to be able to come to a citizen and to be able to approach a citizen. Because they come aggressively, they come disrespectful, they come with vulgar language, and they have no respect, no courtesy, no professionalism, and no respect.
Right on, brother. Right on.
There's going to be a march. When are you marching?
Yes, we're in the planning stage. Most likely it's going to be on Monday.
What time?
We'll let you know.
Any other questions?
Just to the parents again, can you talk about the delay that you had to experience before you were able to speak to your son? How long of a time was that before you got medical attention, before you even physically got to see him?
We got to the precinct, 84 precinct, at around about 6:30.
When were you first notified?
About, yeah, it was around that time. About
5, a little after 5.
And when we got there, we were approached by one of the uniformed police, a female. She told me exactly that something was happening in the station, and they would push her. One of the cops pushed my son to get out of the way. My son had a camera videotaping. That's what she said, and he punched the cop, and the cop is in the hospital. So I was amazed that that happened. His mom asked if we could see him. We were denied that. The only thing that we were allowed is to get him some food. At around 9:30, she told us that there's nothing else we can do, and we can go home. We were supposed to report to 100 Center Street on a Saturday because he was going to see a judge. At around 2 in the morning, Saturday morning, I got a call from AM from the doctor saying that they need permission from the parents to actually give any type of medical treatment to Ben. And asking Ben what they did, he said they just looked at him and said that he's okay. He was taken to Crossroads and he spent the night.
Absurd.
And he spoke to you around, he was allowed to speak to her around 4 o'clock in the morning.
What was the first thing he said to you, Mom?
Why don't you come up here and tell us also how long it took for him to get medical attention?
About 11 hours before he got medical attention.
And what was the first thing he said to you?
He said, "Mommy, I'm okay." He said, "Don't cry, I'm okay."
Okay, any other questions?
Sanford, last one.
Yes.
Without getting too deep in what was the mindset of this particular officer, because none of us can possibly know. But at the same time, officers have undergone training. They're in a situation that is volatile. They know that people are recording. What, in your estimation, could be going on inside of an officer to act in a way that he knows might substantially end his career?
Look, I can't look into the mind of a police officer, and if you look at the video, you see this same police officer who assaulted this young man had ran over and punched another young man who was on the ground before he punched this victim in the face. So I can't look into his mind to tell you what he was thinking, but I can tell you this. This has to stop, and I think Hawk Newsom hit it on the head. The question is, how will it stop? What do we need to do? What has to happen for it to stop? I've stood here too many times with too many families who not only have victims who have been assaulted by police, but victims who have died at the hands of police in this city. The only way that we're going to get change is if those police officers who commit criminal acts are held accountable and put in jail. If that doesn't happen, nothing's going to change. Thank you very much.
Let me say something real quick. I respect you dearly, and I'm so happy that you asked that question. If a police officer can shoot a person 3 times in the back and not be found guilty, Walter Scott, and that be on tape. If a police officer can choke a man to death, as he says, I can't breathe, 11 times on video, what's the harm in punching a little black boy a couple of times in the face? Police operate with impunity. Nothing that they do will result in jail time, and it's time that our city and our country stood up and said enough is enough.
Amen.
Last point, I want to thank the District Attorney here of Brooklyn, Eric Gonzalez, for opening up a criminal investigation with regard not only to the acts of this police officer, but all the police officers who were there. This young man is going to fully cooperate with that investigation. Thank you.
Sanford, you've already met with the Brooklyn DA's office, or you are going to?
I have spoken with the DA, Eric Gonzalez, and he's agreed to meet with the family. But what's more important than meeting with the family is that he has stated publicly, or his office has stated publicly, that there will be a criminal investigation with regard to the actions of the police officers at that train station. Thank you very much.
Thank you.